Hello and welcome to the Tuesday Checklist on a Wednesday, where this week we've been playing lots of First Class Trouble, the game where you have to work together to survive a disaster on board a space station, while 2 of the 6 players secretly try and sabotage your efforts from within. It's Betrayal the game, essentially, and we've been having great fun lying to and then stabbing each other in the back. It's also got us thinking about betrayal in general and how it's a common occurrence in video games, either within the story itself or during bouts of frantic multiplayer. Here's Rosie with the first of our picks.
So I believe we're starting with a time where I was betrayed. And I think it was a moment that happened very, very recently, and I haven't been so bigly betrayed, if that's a term. Bigly betrayed. It was Nathan Snake when we did the Nate's Leaving stream.
That was a bigly betray.
And I was led into the stream thinking we were gonna get the platinum for Fall Guys, and I was there being all supportive. Hey Nate, let's get this together. Come on, what a great way to send you off. Like, it's gonna be amazing. I was fully supportive. I wanted him to earn the platinum. It was great. Look at all the blue beans. So many blue coral blue beans. Basically, I was just fully supportive. And then suddenly, oh no, there's a little tech issue. What are we gonna do about this? And you can see me on the camera. I was there just like, jamming to the Fall Guys music, having a nice time thinking, okay, there's nothing I can really do to help. This is all, in Dave's masterful stream control hands. And then that's when I find out that for half a year, Nath has been preparing pretty much all of the Uncharted Platinums to kick me in the face with his platinums and just be like, so you thought you had the most platinums, Rosie? Well, turns out now in this stream, I'm going to be getting 8 Uncharted Platinums, and then that would have made us even. And I felt so bewildered and betrayed and shocked.
The other B word, Rosie. Betrayed. You felt betrayed.
Betrayed. More so, I think I felt so betrayed because I was so supportive of beforehand I was like, yes, we were all in it together. We were all there helping Nate. There's like, yeah, this is going to be a wonderful, brilliant moment. We're going to get it. And I did I was just like, go on, Nate, we're going to get it for you. This is going to be great. And just to have all that support and happiness and faith just stabbed in the back for this evil plot that Nathan Snake was plotting for half a year, may I add. And it drove me mad as well because I've been seeing him playing Uncharted, when I've been seeing him online on PlayStation. I've always just been like, oh, he's just playing them again. Okay, that's cool. And
innocently playing them. Nathan doesn't play anything anymore unless it's for platinum or some kind of devious plan.
Some kind of evil plan.
Yes.
But it was such a big evil plan. I couldn't believe it. The big betrayal. And then for those of you who weren't watching the stream at the time, or even just in general, as the VOD, the objective was that if I got the platinum for Fall Guys, I needed the infallible trophy. If I got that before Nath got the Uncharted Platinums, then he would technically have to stop, and then I would have won the challenge. Rightfully so, Nath Rot won. He got all the Platinums, and I was there, I think, on 2 wins, or maybe 3 wins by the time he got the last Platinum.
But there was a happy ending for you, Rosie.
Well, yeah, it was, because I was like, I lost the challenge. I was just like, well done. I was like, Nate, he smashed the challenge. He left beating me. I'll happily say that. He worked really hard.
It was a draw. It was a draw.
A draw was a victory for Nathan.
And that's no victory at all.
You shouldn't take this, Rosie. Don't take it.
Think of the betrayal. But no, I got the platinum in the end because the wonderful community were playing playing Fall Guys with us for 5 hours, and I was just like, for them, I wanted to get the platinum, but
also for you.
Now I never have to think of it again. It's done. No more do I have to worry about all the wins in Fall Guys. The ultimate betrayal is Fall Guys. But no, that was probably the biggest betrayal I've had in my whole gaming experience, was Nath just twisting my happiness and joy and supportiveness to competition and just disbelief of what I had to do and what he had to do, and the race and the pressure, and it was live, and it was just bewildering how the contrast in emotions, how it all just completely switched. So that's a betrayal I will definitely not be forgetting anytime soon. And even though Nathan's on camera, I can always get you, Nathan, behind the scenes. Yes.
So the time that I had the biggest betrayal done to me, bestowed upon me, was, they would say it was an accident. It was not an accident. It was a purposeful betray, I claim and live by. It was awful. It was awful.
The classic.
Ruined my game, ruined my life, ruined everything I enjoy, and it wasn't very fair or nice, and I didn't like it. And this is why I'm a monster now. It's because of this one betrayal. So it was when I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and it was very like, as those who have played it know, it's very low, it's very slow. You ride around as a cowboy with your horse and your beans, having a nice time. And it's not usually a sort of title that I play and take a lot of pleasure in doing really super slowly, because I like to jump in and like hack and slash stuff or fight monsters and everything. But I was really into playing Red Dead Redemption 2 as slowly and as kind of like in the moment as possible. Going to do my fishing, get my little rod out, get some fish in. That's what you do when you're fishing.
Reel them in.
Reel them in, yeah. Eating my tinned peaches, just looking around the environment, maybe walking, doing a light trot on my horse sometimes instead of a full canter. I was a horse girl in school, so gallop, canter, I know them all.
Look at us
You
going
know all the
terms.
But yeah, so I was just taking it really slow and doing the main story and all the side quests kind of interwoven. So, spoilers for Red Dead Redemption 2, it was just before the big reveal and the big twist about Arthur. So I'd gone to, Saint Denis had been opened up and I was walking around and everything, and I'd stopped playing for a bit to work, because that's what you do outside of game time, it's work time. So this was at my previous job, and I was at work and just talking on messages and stuff, and a friend sent me a picture of their cat, because they were working from home. They sent me their setup, being like, oh, this is my setup today. Here's my cat sitting with me. And I was like, oh, that's lovely. Opened it up, and written in big letters on their screen, because their laptop screen was on their lap, and the cat was here. The cat was really nice and beautiful, just for everyone wondering. The cat was really nice, but it was here, was them writing up an article on Red Dead Redemption 2, Arthur's tuberculosis, and it spoiled the whole like twist for me before it even happened. He'd sent me a picture of fully like this whole written out bit. I'm sick of this.
Dear.
And I was like, excuse me, this cat is beautiful, but this betrayal is not. It is the opposite. But yeah, it was literally right before he goes in and starts coughing and goes to the doctor and passes out and everything. So like that happened quite soon afterwards, but it like ruined the whole tone of it for me, because I'd like been going so slow, I'd been pacing myself, and I'd got this message with this big thing on the front being like, well, this is everything that happens, so. And it just, yeah, I played it and I was like, well, all the emotions taken out of this for me. I simply must become evil. I was very good Arthur up until that point, and then I started killing everyone because I'd had enough. But yeah, it was a mild betrayal, and it was an accident, according to them, but it wasn't in real life, because it's just, I don't know, it's not the worst betrayal in the world, but it was at the time, because I'd taken so much pleasure in playing Red Dead Redemption 2, playing it slow, kind of getting into this new groove with a new game, and just taking my time, having a nice time, and all of it was spoiled in one go, because of the big letters on the screen.
At least you saw a lovely cat.
Yeah, the cat did help, to be fair.
Maybe the cat plotted it all along.
Maybe the cat wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like hairball on the screen. I am Arthur.
A time when I was betrayed wasn't by another person. I was betrayed by a game.
Oh, I thought you were going to say yourself, to be honest.
I betrayed myself.
I was betrayed by the harrowing narrative twist of one of my favourite video games of all time.
Metal Gear Solid?
3.
Oh!
Of course! I don't play anything else. Spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 3. You play as Naked Snake, aka Big Boss, at the start of his career, before he earns the title of Big Boss. And the boss is his mentor. Very early on in the game, she defects to the Soviet Union. The game is set in the 60s during the height of the Cold War, and so there's a lot of tension between the US and the Soviet Union. You're on this rope bridge suspended over a river.
The most dastardly of places.
And it is the most dastardly of places. And
The Bridge of Betrayal.
The Bridge of Betrayal.
Diddly-doo.
The Bridge of Diddly Doom. And Colonel Volgin comes in, and he's the most obviously villainous villain you'll ever see. He's like, he's got his electric arms, and the boss sort of goes over to his side. And it's devastating, because you can see your character, Naked Snake, you can see it in his face. He's like, boss, what is this? And he can't believe it. He can't believe that his...
And I did think that his hands came out as well.
Boss. He can't believe that the person he's looked up to his entire life, who's been more than a comrade, more than a colleague, I was going to say. More than a colleague. So much more than a colleague. He tries to fight her because he knows it's his duty to do so. He's holding back, but also he's nowhere near as skilled as she is anyway. And she brutally breaks his arm, like she blocks one of his punches. She breaks his arm, she dismantles his gun, and ultimately she chucks him off the top of this bridge, seemingly to his death, but he floats down the river. He manages to reset his arm in a sling, and that's sort of like the prologue of the game. That's like the setup for the game. It's this huge betrayal, but that's not it. That's not the thing. So you play through the entire game, and the final boss of the game is the boss, and it's this beautiful cinematic fight in this white flower meadow, and everything else is very silent, and it's just you versus the boss in this field, and it's just this climactic battle, and it's very beautiful, and you win. And the game ends with the boss sort of like on the floor, ready to accept her fate, her death. And you have to pull the trigger. You can see, even though they're on opposite sides of this conflict, both of them just doing their duty, they still have this mutual respect for each other. You do it, and then the devastating twist happens, where it turns out that the boss hadn't defected to the Soviet Union at all, that it had all been a ruse set up by the US government. She had to basically sacrifice her own reputation and her own honor and her own relationship with Snake for her country, and so she essentially had to die for her country and go down in history as a war criminal. I was just like, I'm getting emotional about it now. Like there's the scene where Snake stands by her grave and he salutes, and the game gives you the chance every so often to go into the point of view of Snake, and so you press the button prompt and you go into the point of view of Snake, and it sort of blurs as his eyes fill with tears. And I just remember thinking, I can't believe you've done this to me, game. Like, it was bad enough having to kill her, and now I find out that I didn't have to kill her, that she wasn't against me this entire time. And I remember just sitting there for about an hour after the ending, after this game had finished, just like, well.
Murderer!
Yes, and I felt furious, and I felt Big Boss's rage, because he'd become Big Boss then. And it's sort of like a villain origin story, if you will, because Big Boss is sort of like the antagonist of the entire Metal Gear saga. And Metal Gear Solid 3 basically gives you the reason for his motivations for turning against the US and for becoming the villain, I guess, if you want to call him the villain, or certainly the antagonist to Solid Snake's protagonist. It makes you empathize with him and understand why he did the things he did, because I would have done the same, because it was a devastating betrayal.
And this is the man called Naked Snake.
He's called Naked Snake. That's his code name in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh, so excuse me.
And he finishes the game. He defeats the boss, and so he inherits the title, The Boss. But then he gets awarded an even bigger title, Bigly Boss.
Bigly Boss! Bigly Boss!
Bigly Boss, yes.
I've heard you
Simple.
explain it for over a year, and I do not know anything that's happened in any of these games. So.
It's easy.
No, I've just been silent because I'm just
Easy.
completely with you with it. I'm just like, I'm getting the feels as well, just from the scenes and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's what I meant.
Her lines just like, there's only room for one snake. Yes. But yeah, the boss, betrayed at the beginning, then you have to kill her. Then it turns out all along the real betrayal has been from the US government and not the boss at all.
Kojima!
And then to switch it around, the moment when I was the betrayer was another famous instance where we did a live stream. It was last Halloween.
What have you done? Oh, I remember now.
And her arms went up and everything. It was the moment when I betrayed Dave's human rights for a Parappa the Rapper coaster.
Worth it.
Worth
so
it,
good
Rosie.
to see.
Yeah,
Worth
absolutely
it.
worth it.
Ash, you just absolutely, it was your first stream on the channel, and I don't know how you just were able to you know, I went into the stream completely, for a week beforehand, whilst preparing the Resident Evil 2 Platinum, I was like, it's fine, I've got the Platinum, Dave can have my treat. Like, nothing Ash can offer me will make me say, I'm going to have the treat. Screw you, Dave, you can have a horrible horror experience.
Is that Dave there?
Yeah, Dave's over here. Hello, Dave. But then as soon as you said, like, what do you think of Parappa? And I was I just remember my face was like, what? And also, like, you know, again, this was our first stream together, and like just the way you just instantly just hit my number one
weakness.
I must have all things Parappa the Rapper, and you had a coaster which I didn't have yet. Like when you first said like a coaster, I thought, oh, I've already got the Parappa the Rapper coaster. I had the red one, the European cover, and then yours had the American cover.
Yes.
So that's
yes, I know.
and I was just like, oh my god. So you know what? And it's still on my shelf today. It's been on my shelf in my little Parappa collection for a year.
And what has Dave done? Nothing.
Nothing.
What would Dave have done?
What would Dave have done? Well, I remember watching Dave's VR, just his spooky stream. A part of me did feel bad, but also he was such a good sport and he was amazing in it, and he put on such an amazing
Rosie's
show.
Trying to claw it back now.
No.
Oh, you're so good, Dave. You're so
You did
great.
so well with my hero.
Thank you for my
But I have a Parappa coaster.
No, it was so good. Watching you turn, like, I knew I had this little trick up my sleeve. I'd been researching you, Rosie.
You've been
I've been
studying.
watching. And being able to pull it out and watch you go, oh no, I simply must. I've watched it back a couple of times just to bring me joy and be like, the moment Rosie changed.
I don't like betraying people at all, but Parappa, I love him.
You couldn't have betrayed Parappa. It
I
would have
can't
been
betray
worse.
Parappa. I can't betray Parappa, and I can't betray my little collection. So, I think even someone on Twitter mentioned it as well, and I took a picture for them. I was like, yeah, he's still proudly on the shelf.
Yeah,
So that was probably the biggest betray I've ever bestowed upon someone else.
I bestow upon you this betray. And in return for this betray, I will take my Parappa coaster.
And I would be very happy. And I also got a platinum trophy mug filled with lots of sweets, which I also still have.
Yeah, I honestly forget about that. I gave you many gifts.
Many gifts.
I
But the
gave you
Parappa coaster.
a cornucopia of gifts, but it was the coaster that sealed the deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just the biggest betrayal I've ever given to someone else, and I still love my Parappa the Rapper coaster. It stands very proudly on the shelf.
Good. A bigly betray.
Big betray.
Right, so time I was the betrayer. I feel like in games I kind of take a lot of pleasure in betraying. I feel like it's just a nice, fun mechanic to take advantage of. Like my friend group back home when we play board games and stuff, I'm known as a betrayer because I will do it as often as I can. This is why I don't play co-op games very often because I'm an awful person to play with. But I think the time of being a betrayer for me that felt the most satisfying was convincing you guys to do a Tuesday checklist on the games you're most scared of, and then being able to use it for the Halloween streams. That all of you were like, yeah, we'll do that for Halloween, we'll do the games we're most scared of, and all of you gave me all of the information that was pertinent to creating a good Halloween section. Even Nate, who, like, I don't think he did that one. I went downstairs, was like, what one would you add to this? And he told me about all of his fear of Fatal Frame and the worst time he'd had and all this sort of thing, and I was like, yes. So yeah, that was, it wasn't even a very sneaky one, a subtle one, but when Rob told me about Resident Evil 7, that was the main one, because I wasn't sure how to quite get you, Rob, and then you came up with all this Resident Evil 7 stuff, being afraid of Marguerite, and as you were going through it and telling me all this bug story, I was like, yes, this will be the one. This is what you must play. But yeah, I could have put Dave into Until Dawn Rush of Blood, but I felt like he'd done his time. With that one.
So good.
He's done his time on that, so it's short
He
but
hasn't. He
sweet.
didn't even finish it. He got nowhere. He turned it off like halfway, like 2 minutes in.
Yeah, you did. That's like the video is just like that length, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just like 3 minutes long.
Well, he'd done his time with Outlast 2 and everything, and I think with the challenge that he had, he got it quite tough. So your Resident Evil 7 one was definitely the one that I kind of drew from the pile of fears that was in that Tuesday checklist, which was absolutely designed to be like, what could I put in my spooky streams? And all of you fully dived in like, I'm so scared, I'm afraid. And it worked very well for me, so thank you for being easily led.
You didn't get my fear, though, of alien isolation. I got away.
You did get away because I just thought it'd be fun to do onesie time again.
Just more one-on-one all the time.
Yeah.
So now we move to me as betrayer.
Too much joy. Too much fun.
This is not a new story, but it's one of my favourite stories, so I'm going to tell it again. And it's definitely...
Did you do?
I'm excited, I'm excited.
definitely the worst thing I've ever done to another human player. We did it live on stream.
Wooter?
Dave and I did it together.
Wooter?
To Wooter.
Wooter!
Wooter, the fool! The gullible fool! He came in and he helped us when we were playing Fallout 76, Dave and I. We weren't very good.
Oh, I know the story.
We weren't very good at the game. We were noobs. We just come into this world, level nothing, and we were trying to find our place in the dangerous, hostile world of Fallout 76. And we found a little island called Deathclaw Island. We couldn't see any Deathclaws on it, and we were like, it's obviously just called Deathclaw Island. So we went over, but then sure enough, out of the ground popped a Deathclaw. And we had no chance against this Deathclaw. But then, it was almost like the clouds parted and the sunbeams came down, and you could hear the angel choirs as Wooter came charging in and just annihilated this Deathclaw for us. And we spent the rest of the stream having grand adventures with Wooter, and he was very kind and shared their ammo with us, their weapons. And about halfway through, Nathan was streaming with me, and we had a little notebook, and we had to write these messages to each other, because if we said it out loud, the chat would have been able to hear us and Wooter would have been alerted to our diabolical scheme. So the notebook just says, "Shall we kill him?" And I just replied, "Yes, we shall kill him."
The extras.
Yes.
So it got to the end of the stream, and Dave and I sort of said the words so is this the end? Is this the end? Is this where we're going to end it? Meaning both the stream and Wooter's life. And we turned on Wooter and we gunned him down. And poor Wooter, even though he was more powerful than we were, we had the element of surprise. We had the numbers. And 2 versus 1.
The army of...
We did, and we managed to destroy him, and poor Wooter was left dead at the bottom of the cliff. And Dave and I think Dave felt very, very bad about it, and went back to Wooter after the stream had ended and gave Wooter back all of his weapons.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Ammo.
He's literally killed and murdered a man and then
Whereas-
gone,
Yeah, but then he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Whereas I didn't feel bad at all. I thought it was great entertainment.
Yes,
And
keep the landing, I'd say, right?
yeah, and murder, murder, murder. And Wooter has since gone down in Access history. Wooter is just the code word for heinous betrayal.
Betrayal.
So if you've been wooted, it means you've been betrayed. Bigly.
Bigly betrayed.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Boss, Wooter.
Did Dave know that you were gonna kill him?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. So it
Dave
wasn't
was complicit. Of course he was.
David spoke about this from the opposite side, and he knew, and
He
he
knew.
wanted to. He had his knife and gun out. Dave did the final blow.
Yeah.
Dave! That's appalling. If Dave's watching this back, that's appalling, Dave. How dare you do that to poor Wooter? You're fine, Rob.
Yeah, Rob, it's
It's
expected.
just you just expect it from me, don't you? But from you, Dave, I'm very disappointed.
I just see this just.
Boss.
There's only room for one snake, it just.
And then doesn't...
There's a million snakes. What are you talking about?
Naked
Yeah,
snake.
venom snake,
Mr. Snake.
old snake, Mr.
I
Snake.
don't know, man.
Hello, I'm Mr. Snake and I'm here to sell you my Metal
Mr.
Gear.
Snake. Look, it's easy to figure out once you've played all the games 50 times, okay? Stop complaining. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments if you can think of any other stinging betrayals. Don't forget to grab First Class Trouble on PS4 and PS5. It's available as one of the PlayStation Plus monthly games in November. And join us again soon for another Tuesday checklist. Thanks for watching.
PlayStation